Was it as simple as it looked? Give Tyler the ball, get out of the way.
Uh, well, the game was certainly not simple, especially when we got down 4 points in the fourth quarter. Uh, Before I get to Tyler, though, I just think in general, the last 48 hours, actually, if you take it even the day before, we've made some progress, and I just like us showing some grit and having to go through some tough things the last two nights, being down in the second half in both games, and just having to fight for it and gut it out and make some plays on both ends, and that's what we were able to do. So within 48 hours, I think we got better. We made some improvement, and then as far as Tyler's play, yeah, it was designed to get him the ball with a little bit of space. It got a little bit clunky there. It wasn't the exact spacing that we wanted, but their pressure kind of distorted our spacing. And then he just did basically what Jimmy did, last night, is create something out of nothing. And he's a shot creator and a shot maker, and he's not afraid of those moments. And that was a big time shot. The only criticism I have is he left, a couple seconds on the clock. But he's a gutsy kid, and he wants those moments, and he really delivered tonight. Even in the fourth quarter, he made some big plays going down the stretch. Those last 4 minutes, the three guys were really creating a lot of those triggers for us. Kyle, Bam, Tyler, and each one of them made great decisions down the stretch. Extremely efficient.
To build on that, just the last two games, 30-plus points in the fourth quarter. What have you seen in those fourth quarters that have kind of led to those offensive numbers?
I saw a lot of trust, in the fourth quarters of the last two games. In the first half we didn't necessarily play like that, and we didn't really work the offense appropriately. It was a really fast-paced game, so it's easy to get kind of drawn into that. But in both fourth quarters, there was a lot of finding the open guy and making the right play and trusting it, regardless of the results. And in both games, we didn't make all the shots, but they were the right plays to be able to find good to great. Max's was one of those situations where we didn't cough up a forced shot early in the clock. We just worked it. They defended it well, and then we ended up getting something, in the second half of the clock, and Max hit a big one.
How difficult is it when the whole game was a 1 or 2 possession game? It was literally just it was going back and forth from the outset. Is there something tangible that you can really take away from a game like this, where every play has something riding on it for 48 minutes? Because again, it was that close the whole way.
Yeah, and Tim, to be fair about that too, even in some of these losses, we've had a lot of these kind of games. So I just think it's really good for your ball club to go through these emotions and situations, special situations, managing the clock, managing foul trouble, different schemes, having to make adjustments, executing under duress, getting the ball where it needs to go, and then trusting each other. In the last 48 hours, I think we made some progress. But, you asked me last night, where do you get the confidence from? I think the most important thing with that is you just find different ways to develop grit and perseverance regardless of where your confidence is. Sometimes you're not going to have confidence. You get down, Herter hit that three, okay? You have to have the mental toughness to collect ourselves, focus on the next possession, try to get a stop, and chip away at it. And the more you have to experience that collectively and then persevere and find some success, then you start to find some confidence. But regardless, you can find different ways to win.
I'm sure you'd like 4 perfect quarters, but is it encouraging to you that after some slow defensive starts, not just tonight, but in some of the recent games, the defense at least just seems to be trending up as the games go on?
Yeah, there's no question about it in the second half, and particularly the fourth quarters of basically every single game that we've played. Those have been our best quarters. That is, in itself, great. That's a great competitive spirit and quality that this team has. The way we start games, and not every single game, but our disposition and the commitment to really try to impose our identity on a game, that has some room for improvement, and everybody in the locker room understands that. It's a highly competitive association, and what we're trying to build, like every team, is consistency and finding that identity and that edge right from the tip and then all the way through the rotation.
Looking at what Kyle was able to do tonight, I think he had a pretty quick 17, but
Yeah.
the way he was getting 2 feet in the paint, even late, like the offense was creating just for them getting in the paint. Is that kind of intentional with Jimmy being out, that you want that from him more so, or how does that work?
I mean, there's a couple different points about that. I think, one, it shows you his mental toughness. You know, he had as much of a burst, and his mental next play speed was at its best on the second night of a back-to-back after a very competitive game last night. Young players should really study guys like Kyle or even Jimmy. It's a case study of mental toughness. I don't even know how he felt or whatever, but he's bringing his best, because probably he invents some challenge in his own mind of, like, I'm gonna really bring it tonight on a second night, play big minutes, and Jimmy being out. I thought he really kept us afloat and really put some pressure on the defense. The second point is Kyle really was like this all training camp. You know, we're trying to figure some things out, and develop a continuity and a flow, with that starting unit. And he's really sacrificed, to try to help, the other guys really step up and establish themselves. And sometimes you can get lost in the sauce, as Chris Bosh used to say. But when you need him to make plays, like, he's still every bit of, who he's been, over the course of his Hall of Fame career. And we saw that in the last 48 hours. And he knows how to read different moments of games and what's needed.
Was it just a group thing when, you're missing one of your best rebounders, obviously, with Jimmy not out there? They only got 4 offensive rebounds. 2 of them, I think, were long ones. They're just kind of fluky ones. Was that just a collective? Everybody just has to go?
And we still have a ways to go to be more consistent with it, but our blockouts are getting better. The pursuits to the ball are getting better. The group rebounding of getting a second guy to crack down on it big and tip balls away, that's getting better. But we still have a couple more layers to go with that. Our perimeters, I didn't see what it was, but when our perimeters rebound well, that usually is a good thing for us. Okay, thank you.